Welcome, brothers and sisters. My name is Eros and I am the Toolmaker. Today we will discuss about visualization. Now, what is visualization? Visualization is a skill, a crucial one, to some of the techniques that we've already learned. For example, the manifestation journal and focused meditation in some way. And this technique, this skill, will become extremely important in almost all of the future techniques that we will learn. Now, the term visualization is a bit misleading because it seems to suggest that visualization itself, it's all about sight or visual imagination. While this is also true, this technique doesn't end there. Visualization starts with imagination, with what we want or need to imagine to perform a technique, and bringing it to our mind. Then, to gain clarity, we are going to concentrate on what we are imagining with our sights, but also with all of our other senses. So we start with vision, then we proceed with touch, hearing, smell, and taste. Now, in visualization, ideally, we want to get in our mind as close as possible to actually living the experience, touching the object, seeing the sigil that we are visualizing. These are, of course, just a few examples. There are many ways to train ourselves for visualization and to visualization. We will see the most important two. The first one is abstract vision or holographic vision, if you want. And in this exercise, we train our sight for visualization in specific. This one is direct training. So what we want to do is we want to relax, even get into a meditative state. And then we are going to imagine a simple shape, usually a circle. And we are going to hold it in our minds as clearly as possible for as long as we can. Of course, reasonably speaking, for a reasonable time. And we do this to train visualization clarity, making the shape clear, and most importantly, visualization endurance. This exercise is most important for visual artists and astral travelers, or if you are both, like my brother Sean. Now, to maximize visual clarity in your heart and in your magic. Now, of course, once we get experienced with this exercise, we want to start visualizing more complex shapes or even three-dimensional shapes. The second exercise that we are going to train is abstract memory or holographic memory, as you prefer. In this exercise, that is of course usable for sight, for our visualization sight, but also for all of the other senses, we want to pick a fruit. I tend to use apples, for example, and we are going to hold it in front of us, really observing it. In all of these details. Then, when we feel ready, we want to put the fruit aside, close our eyes, and bring the image of the fruit back to our mind with as much precision and as many details as possible. This, of course, also applies to all of the other senses, is also applicable to all of the other senses. For example, analyzing the surface and the consistency for touch, recalling the sound from a bite to the fruit, for hearing, or even truly tasting and recalling the flavor or smell for taste and smell, usually trained together because these senses are interlinked. When we get more advanced, we want to use our holographic memory with more than one of our senses at a time. This is why I recommended the fruit, of course. But for the single senses, you may want to use different objects, and of course, you can. This being said, let's talk a bit about manifestation. In this case, direct manifestation, which is strictly correlated to this discussion that we just had. Direct manifestation is best suited actually for a master of the magical arts, since it requires to master detachment, and it also requires a deep knowledge of the laws of magic. But it's fairly simple to understand, and potentially is also fairly simple to practice, to execute if you want. Now, this is a fully fledged magical technique, and you should take it really very seriously. To perform this technique, we are going to first enter a deep state of meditation, completely calming your mind, as we've learned before. Step 2. We are going to focus on what we want to manifest, visualizing it with all of our senses, as we just learned. Be it a situation or an object. Step 3, which is the most important one, we are going to feel what we would feel if we already own the object, um, or how, how we would feel if what we want to happen is already real. We want to feel it as close to our soul as possible, with gratitude. Now, step 4, when we completely exhausted all of our desire for the object or the event that we want to manifest, to the point that we simply can't go on any longer with this practice, we are going to completely let go. We are going to rest, and then we need to go on with our life without thinking about it. As a bonus point, if the desire comes back to our mind, we are going to feel, we want to feel gratitude as if it has already happened. And then again, we are going to let go, just like what we do with our thoughts during meditation. This is it. As you can clearly tell, the major difference between visualization and manifestation is emotion, energy in motion, putting your emotion fully into the practice. Of course, this is an amazing technique I wanted you to learn, but sigil magic will be more efficient to influence and improve yourself, since it speaks directly to your subconscious. And spell work will empower your magic through the use of correspondences and symbolism. Those will be the next 2 series if you want to know more about the magical arts. Otherwise, I do deeply honor you if you followed along with all of the series. I also deeply thank you for your kind attention, and may eternal light always shine upon you.